Havenwood was a quiet little town, just the kind of place Sarah, a psychology student battling chronic insomnia, thought would bring her peace. But her nights became a war zone. Vivid nightmares, whispers in the dark, and the constant feeling of being watched kept her on edge. Tea, meditation, therapy, none of it worked. The exhaustion was eating her alive, draining her focus, crushing her mood. Her friends noticed the change, but chalked it up to stress. While researching sleep disorders, Sarah stumbled upon something called the night echo syndrome. The symptoms were eerily familiar. The article linked it to trauma or violent places. And beneath Havenwood's charming facade, there was a dark past, an old textile factory, burned to the ground in a deadly fire that claimed dozens of lives, workers, and even children. Sarah felt a chill. Could it be connected? She started digging. The older locals were tight-lipped, but a few, clearly scared, opened up. They spoke of nighttime screams, shadowy figures lurking in the ruins, and a cruel janitor named Silas Blackwood killed in the fire, his body never found. The legend said Silas was bitter, vengeful, and in his final moments, he swore he'd return. His spirit, trapped between worlds, wasn't done yet. Sarah started connecting the dots, the whispers, the visions, that overwhelming feeling of being watched. Silas wasn't just haunting the ruins, he was haunting her dreams. And with her mind worn down, she was the perfect prey. Her friends, skeptical as always, told her to rest. But Sarah knew better. Something darker was hunting her, and it was real. That night, she made a choice. She wouldn't run from sleep anymore, she'd confront it. She let the darkness take her, determined to meet Silas on his turf. As her eyes closed, the whispers grew louder. The dream took shape. She was in the burned-out factory, soaked in dread. Rusted machines loomed like beasts, shadows crawled on the walls, and the air reeked of smoke and scorched metal. She was deep inside the nightmare, and Silas Blackwood was waiting. The dream twisted into a maze that morphed with every step, built from the fears and memories of the people trapped inside. The factory was just the backdrop. For Sarah, the halls bent into the dark corners of her own mind, each door a buried trauma or hidden fear. Silas wasn't some beast with claws, he was something far worse. A force that fed on fear, thriving in nightmares. His weapons were doubt, guilt, and despair. He was the weaver of nightmares, and Sarah was tangled in his web. She tried to run, but her legs were like stone. The walls warped, machines grown to life, metallic limbs reaching for her. Whispers turned into screams, children crying, workers yelling, Silas laughing. "You can't run, Sarah," his voice echoed. "Your fears are mine. Your mind ... is my playground." She ducked into a dark room, heart pounding. Logic failed. Fear was king here. Then a door creaked open. It was her childhood bedroom, but wrong. Darker, twisted. Her teddy bear stared back at her, its eyes cold and evil. Silas whispered, "You remember, don't you? That little secret you've been hiding?" A cold wave hit her. The secret, a trauma she'd buried deep. Silas was using it against her. "You're not real," she shouted, desperate to take back control. "You're just a nightmare." Silas chuckled. "A nightmare? Oh, Sarah, ... I'm so much more. I'm your fear, your shadow, and I'm not leaving until you give me what I want." "What do you want?" she asked. "Your soul, Sarah, your mind, your control." "I want it all." She couldn't fight him with fists, but this was her mind, and she knew how to navigate it. Lucid dreaming. If she could control the dream, she could fight back. She closed her eyes, took a breath, visualized her real bedroom. "This is a dream. I'm dreaming. I'm in control." She repeated it until the shadows flickered. When she opened her eyes, the twisted bedroom sharpened into something more familiar. The bear's eyes softened. Silas flickered like a faulty signal. "You think you're clever," he growled. "But I know your mind better than you do." "Maybe," Sarah said, calm but firm. "But I know yours too. You feed on fear. And if I'm not afraid, you have no power." He roared, the ground shook. He threw everything at her. But she stood tall. "I'm done playing your game, Silas," she declared. "I'm taking back my mind." He lunged. She dodged. This time, she didn't run. She fought. A battle against Silas Blackwood was a psychological war raging inside Sarah's mind. He tried to drag out every hidden wound, old fears, childhood guilt. But Sarah, fully lucid now, fought back using everything she'd learned. He twisted the dream into tight, suffocating spaces. She countered with wide-open skies. He summoned warped versions of her parents, accusing her, shaming her. She stood firm, stared them down until they crumbled like ash, and nightmare stretched on for what felt like hours. Sarah was exhausted, but her confidence grew with every step. She realized something crucial. Silas wasn't invincible. He only had as much power as she gave him. And that's when she started to laugh. Not out of joy, but defiance. "You're wasting your time, Silas," she said. "I'm not afraid of you anymore." His form flickered. He roared in fury. One last desperate move. He turned the dream into a massive void, a bottomless pit. Sarah was left hanging by a thread, but she didn't scream. She smiled and let go. She floated, weightless, free. "I'm done letting you control me," she said. "This is my mind, and I'm taking it back." Silas howled as his form shattered into fragments of shadow and smoke. Light poured in, the nightmare unraveled, and morning sunlight spilled through her bedroom window. Sarah woke up breathless, not with fear but relief. A deep, peaceful silence wrapped around her. For the first time in months, she felt free. Silas Blackwood was gone. Or so she thought. The days that followed felt like a blessing. She slept peacefully. Her dreams were calm. Her routine fell back into place, and even her friends noticed the change. She truly believed she had won. But terror, like a seed, never really dies. It just waits. And it wasn't after her anymore. Her roommate Mark started showing signs. Sleepless nights. Screams in the dark. Eyes wide, refusing to speak about what he saw. Then Emily, a close friend, began hallucinating, seeing shadows in the daylight, hearing voices. She became a ghost of herself, too scared to sleep, too afraid to be awake. The fear was spreading. That's when Sarah understood. She hadn't destroyed Silas. She had only cast him out. And now he was looking for new minds to corrupt. He was a parasite, a virus that lived inside dreams. And without knowing it, she had opened the door. She felt a crushing weight of guilt. Yes, she had survived. But others were suffering now. She had won a battle. The war was far from over. Sarah knew what she had to do. She had to stop Silas for good, no matter what it took. She dove into research folk tales, ancient rituals, any clue that could help her trap a dream entity for real. Eventually, she found something, a banishment ritual, dangerous, rare. It involved facing the entity head-on, inside the dream, and trapping it within a physical object, an amulet. It was risky, but it was their only shot. Sarah didn't hesitate. She gathered everything she needed, memorized every step of the ritual. Then, one moonless night, she laid down in bed, this time not for herself. This time, for them all. She returned to the ruins of the factory, darker and more twisted than ever. The shadows were thicker, the whispers were deafening, and Silas Blackwood was waiting. Stronger, smiling. "You just don't give up, do you?" he said. "But you'll never win. I am fear, I am darkness, I am forever." "No," Sarah answered, gripping the amulet tight. "You're not eternal. You're a parasite. And I'm here to end this, The final battle began. Silas pulled every trick in his book nightmares of her friends dying, Havenwood engulfed in flames, her own mind unraveling. But Sarah didn't waver. She focused on the ritual, on the words, on the light. The amulet started to glow. A searing white flame burned through the dark. Silas screamed in rage and pain, the light wrapping around him like chains. He fought, he thrashed, but it was too late. Sarah poured every ounce of willpower into the ritual, and slowly, agonizingly, Silas Blackwood was sucked into the amulet, piece by piece, scream by scream, until only a faint flicker remained. And then, silence. Sarah collapsed, drained, but victorious. She woke up gripping the amulet, still warm, still glowing. Her friends were sleeping soundly. The nightmare was over. Havenwood was at peace. Or so it seemed. Sarah locked the amulet in a sealed box and hid it away. She knew better than to believe in happy endings. Silas Blackwood was powerful, and prisons, even magical ones, don't last forever. But she'd be ready when he returned, because the war against fear never really ends. It just waits for the next dream. See you in the next one. I mean, video.